and welcome to Future You, the podcast from graduate careers experts Prospects. I'm your host, Emily Slade, and in this episode we look at an exciting part-time course from the Cranfield School of Management. Whether you're a sustainability professional, an employee new to their sustainability role, or someone for whom sustainability is becoming an increasingly important aspect in your business, this course equips you with the skills needed to make a real impact.
My name is Dr Rosina Watson. I'm an Associate Professor of Sustainability at Cranfield School of Management, and I'm also the co-course director of the MSc in Sustainability. I moved to academia I did my PhD at Cranfield in 2013, so I moved into academia halfway through my career. I spent about 15 years working primarily in the retail sector, in finance, commercial and strategy roles before becoming the first head of corporate sustainability for Argos and Homebase in 2009. And that role was what really switched me on to the potential to do business in a better way and to make business a force for good in the world, and inspired me to actually want to teach others about that. So that's what drove my move into academia, and this course has kind of been the culmination of what I wanted to achieve through a move into being an educator, because the course is all about helping to equip and upskill sustainability professionals, sustainability leaders or aspiring sustainability leaders, and to do that in a way that they can take on their learning while they're working. So when I was first head of corporate sustainability, I was chosen because I knew the business really well, but I didn't really know all that much about all the environmental and social issues and how to tackle them, how to measure them. So I had to very much learn on the job from talking to other sustainability professionals, and I think this course fills a huge gap for the increasing number of people within organisations who are being given responsibility for sustainability outcomes, sustainability strategies, but often haven't necessarily got all the learning that they need to equip them to do that with confidence. So that's where this course comes in.
We are hearing more often these days about courses surrounding sustainability, and so why has this one been developed?
So the impetus for its development was actually the government developing a new apprenticeship standard, a level 7 apprenticeship standard. So level 7 is master's level, called Sustainability Business Specialist. So the government have obviously got a sort of agenda around developing green skills in the UK, and the apprenticeship scheme is a way to offer funding to employers who want to invest in their ongoing education of their employees. So this apprenticeship standard came about, I think it was in May 2020. And myself and a colleague in Cranfield from another school, so I'm in the School of Management, the management school. My colleague is from the School of Water, Energy, Environment, which looks at the more technical and scientific side of the environment and sustainability. We saw this apprenticeship standard and felt that Cranfield was extremely well placed to develop a course that responded to that standard, because in the School of Management I lead teaching and research around sustainability in the context of business. And in Kanisha Garnett's school, the School of Water, Energy and Environment, they're very much focused on the technologies, the innovation that are needed to drive sustainability. So we felt that putting those two skill sets together, we could develop a programme which complied with this apprenticeship standard, which means that employers can send people on the course with very heavily subsidised from the apprenticeship levy, but at the same time we're equipping with the candidates that come on the course with that really essential blend of knowing how to lead for sustainability from a management and people perspective, but also from a technical and scientific perspective. And I think that's what we've achieved. So we're now recruiting for our fourth intake of this programme. So we've got about 110 people on the programme so far across 3 cohorts, and we have a new cohort starting in March. And the programme's attracting such a huge diversity of people, all brought together by their shared passion for this topic and a real desire to make an impact through their organisations into the world, recognising the urgency of the environmental and social problems that we're facing. So we have representation from all sectors really in the UK. So all the way from service businesses, legal, finance organisations, all the way through to really heavy manufacturing. There's people there that make submarines, for example, and people from the food sector, people from the FMCG sector, so fast-moving consumer goods. So all types of sectors represented. Some people on the course are very senior, so we've got directors of sustainability, chief sustainability officers, all the way through to people who are sustainability apprentices, so they're just sort of beginning their sustainability career. And people come from very different places. So some people come from a more engineering background, so they want to learn more how to drive influence organisationally. Some people come from a more general management strategic background and they want to deepen their sort of specific technical knowledge around sustainability. So the great thing is that everybody brings something to the equation. So it doesn't matter if you've got 2 years experience or 40 years experience, because everyone's experience is different. And the spirit of an apprenticeship is very much that you learn theories and frameworks, but then you apply them in your workplace. So every student has got something to bring, and they also have something to offer in terms of then sharing back what they've done with their learning from each module that they study. So as well as offering potential for, connecting with lots of different world-renowned academics during the course. So each of the 14 taught modules is led by a different academic with a different specialty, a different area of expertise. The students are really finding learners, actually we call them. Students makes them sound too young. The learners are all deriving really huge value from learning from each other and discussing shared problems. So a way in which we try and really encourage that is that learners are divided into learning groups, which they do activities in. Some of their module assessments are group-based assessments, and those groups, one set of groups is deliberately constructed so they're as diverse as possible, so from different industry sectors, different genders, different length of experience. And then they have a second set of groups, which is more industry sector groups. So sometimes they'll do something with the other food sector people all together if they're really trying to focus in on sustainability challenges in a particular sector. So that brings lots of opportunities for peer learning as well as the formal academic learning. And at the end, as I said, each of the 14 modules is assessed, and about 70% of the assessments are applied to the workplace. So for example, in the module that I lead, which is leading sustainable business, we learn all about how to develop a sustainability strategy, how to implement that, including through innovation. And their assessment then is to design and write a proposal for a sustainability oriented innovation in their company. So they're writing a proposal using the tools that they've learned in the module about a particular project or initiative that they would like to propose to their board or their executive team to take forward in their own organisation. So I kind of mark that from an academic perspective, and then many of them will take that project forward in reality. So students kind of comment that the fact that they have to dedicate the time to writing an assessment, but that it's a very practical and applied assessment, means they can then use that piece of work to actually drive change in their business very quickly after doing that piece of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fantastic.
And then the last thing is at the end of their taught program. So it's a 2.5 year course. You have 2 years of this kind of learning by attending a taught module and then doing assessment. And then at the end, there's 6 months where each learner chooses a particular work-based project that they want to tackle. So it's like a thesis, but it's applied. It is a thesis, but it's applied to their workplace. So that's like a bigger scale project that they can use. They can tackle to fulfil that applied thesis. They're supervised by an academic supervisor, but it's obviously a very kind of collaborative exercise between themselves, their employer, and their academic supervisor, what they choose for that project and then how they tackle it.
Out of curiosity, is it individuals that are sort of applying for this course off their own back, or is it often
really
businesses?
Good question, Emily. It's a very good question, Emily. So it is a mixture. It's a mixture, but I'd say probably slightly tilted towards led by the candidate, and then they're bringing their company along.
Nice.
But the great thing is once one candidate's been on the course from a particular company, some of the companies that are represented are small companies, so they're never going to have like 5 sustainability professionals. They're only going to have one. But some of the bigger companies have sent one person as kind of like a trailblazer with the view to have others to follow. But then a couple of other companies have taken a more strategic approach to it. So BAE Systems, for example, they've sent 8 students on the first 2 cohorts, on each of the first 2 cohorts. So the way they are trying to create their sustainability team of the future, and have specifically recruited people from different areas of the business. So they put out a call saying, we're offering this apprenticeship, please apply if you're interested, and they've deliberately sort of built up this cohort who are learning together, and they will together sort of lead the agenda within BAE Systems going forward. So both approaches.
Yeah. And what about studying? How can it be studied? Can they continue working, or do they have to sort of take the time off to complete the course?
Everyone's working, so it's you study 1 day a week basically. So this course is an apprenticeship, and that's what makes it eligible for apprenticeship levy funding. But you can also go on it as a non-apprentice. So if for some reason your company doesn't want to do it through the apprenticeship levy, or you are self-employed, you can still come on the course. But it does mean that you have to pay the full cost of the course rather than it being subsidised by the apprenticeship levy. So people are on it from both routes, but regardless of what route they're on, they study in the same way, which is you take every Friday off for studying, and live online teaching is every other Friday. So we teach remotely, so people don't have to travel, and that's for two reasons. One is to reduce the carbon footprint of people travelling, and the second is to make the course as accessible as possible. So lots of people who've applied for the course have commented that they've been looking for something they've wanted to study this for a long time, but haven't been able to fit it in with their work, caring, family, juggling, and so this I describe this as a kind of little and often way of studying. So other sort of apprenticeships or other sort of executive learning typically would involve coming to Cranfield for 3 days, maybe every month or so, sometimes it's on a weekend, which is obviously very difficult to fit in. So we designed this so that it's little and often, and it's remote, and the online teaching is live online, so you don't look at recordings. You're not sat there on your own. You're sat there with your cohort of 40 to 50 people, with your academics module lead, and also with a co-presenter who helps make sure that the student voice is represented the whole time. So you'd never have your hand up and have the academic ignore you, because the co-presenter is very much, excuse me, someone's got a question here. And it's delivered from our Cranfield broadcast and record studios, which are like a proper professional BBC studio. We've got a news desk, we've got a sofa studio. So it's very high quality production values and very interactive. So we use lots of interactive tools like Miro. We have interactive whiteboards. We use breakout rooms. We very much get the students to engage with what they're learning and apply it, and feedback. So it's very much live online study, but that's complemented then with an annual physical residential at Cranfield. So that beginning of every year, so each cohort will have 3 of those. You spend 3 days on campus, staying over, meeting your colleagues, your fellow students, meeting the academics, and doing activities that work better face to face. So we have a personal leadership module which we deliver face to face because it's quite personal. It's much better to do that in real life. We do an innovation tour of Cranfield and look at things like hydrogen production, solar panel installations actually on campus, so taking advantage of being able to see that in real life. We do something called the Exploring Sustainable Futures game, which is a sort of half-day interactive role-play game, which again works much better in person. So we really do make the most of those annual trips to Cranfield. We have a big course dinner where everyone gets together to eat vegetarian food and have a few drinks if they fancy it.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's the only way to study. There isn't options. That's it. It's live online every other Friday, self-paced study in the in-between weeks, and then the annual residentials.
It does sound brilliant. It sounds like a really good way to do it.
I think it works well, yeah.
So what is the thing that excites you most about the apprenticeship?
That it drives real impact very quickly. And I just love seeing students. So every year at the residential, we get the students who are just going into their second year. I ask for volunteers, for students to share their stories of what they've achieved with their learning over the first year, and that's literally my highlight, because people stand up there and say, I had slight imposter syndrome, I was given more and more responsibility for this stuff, I didn't feel like I necessarily had the foundation, enough of the foundations of learning to really confidently tackle all these things, and now I feel I do. I feel supported. I've got this great network of peers who I can go to if I've got a problem. I've got all these tools and frameworks at my disposal that really have enhanced my credibility at work, that have meant that I'm being invited into meetings that I wasn't invited into before. It's just given me so much ammunition to do my job better and confidence to do my job better. So that's a really big highlight, to hear how people are really using what they learn to kind of improve themselves, but also improve the impact that they have on work and also the impact they're having beyond work. So quite a few students, as a result of this confidence and knowledge that they're building, have now set up like industry sustainability groups. For example, we've got a guy who works for a local brewery. He's now set up a group of local breweries that are all trying to tackle sustainability stuff together, because they've got a bigger voice as a group of small breweries than they would standing alone. So people are driving impact beyond even their own organisations into the sector. Some people are even starting to influence sort of policy by lobbying government on issues. So that's what's really exciting, I think.
And I understand it was
sorry. Yeah, I was going to mention I was going to mention that point. That was super exciting when I got the email saying that this apprenticeship was recognised as part of the King's coronation celebrations for its contribution to green skills development in the UK. That was obviously a big highlight, but it's not really me that's doing that. It's the people on the students on the course who are achieving that. So,
what does that mean to be recognised? Is that just sort of like an acknowledgement from the monarch?
Yes, we just get a logo that we can. It's an acknowledgement by the monarch in terms of you're contributing to something that's really key to the UK moving forward, and we can use the logo.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So the practical questions, funding that's available.
So the course cost is £18,000 for the whole 2.5 year course, and companies can fund £11,000 of that through the apprenticeship levy. So there's only £7,000 to pay out of the company's own pocket.
Your next cohort is starting September this year?
No, March the 5th. Yes, but the applications have just closed for that cohort. So in the next week or so, we'll be opening applications for the one after that, which is September the 17th this year.
Incredible. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about it?
I would like to say that I think don't be put off if you think you've either got too much expertise already or too little. I think we have people at both ends, so do reach out and get in touch and sort of explore whether you think this is the right course for you. So if you think you've got too little experience, you're probably just underestimating what you know and what you've done. And if you've got too much experience, I think we find some people have deep experience in some areas of sustainability, but even so, the course has allowed them to really widen and broaden their expertise across different elements of sustainability. The other thing to say is our typical eligibility criteria are that you have a prior undergraduate degree. But if you haven't got an undergraduate degree, but you've got a sort of decent length of experience of working, so between 5 and 10 years of working, because we're very much a practitioner-oriented university, we can take that into account, and we do accept people who haven't got undergrad degrees if they can demonstrate that they've developed the skills for master's level study elsewhere in their career.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks again to Rosina for her time. If you want to find out more, you can head to the Cranfield School of Management website or click the links below. Make sure to give us a follow wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to get in touch, you can email us at podcast@prospects.ac.uk or find us on Instagram and TikTok. All the links are in the description. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.